Hello, today I'm going to be discussing conservation efforts as well as biotic and abiotic factors of human impact, all having to do with the San Francisco Bay Estuary. The San Francisco Bay Estuary is a diverse habitat home to many different species. Estuaries are often breeding grounds for many aquatic species and have an essential part of this area's environmental role. An estuary is an area where a freshwater river or stream meets the ocean. In these areas, the salty ocean mixes with the freshwater river, resulting in brackish water. This water also meets up with land and acts as an important resource for terrestrial as well as aquatic species. This creates grounds for many interactions between both biotic as well as abiotic. Biotic interactions are that between living organisms. Abiotic interactions, on the other hand, are between living organisms and their environment. In the San Francisco Bay Area, some abiotic factors are influenced by humans are the water and air quality. Light is also a factor that most people do not consider when discussing human impact on abiotic relationships. However, light pollution can alter species' behavior tremendously. Biotic interactions include altering habitat by building farms or cities, and taking away natural living resources in the form of plants. This creates habitat loss and fragmentation, which causes species to behave differently than they would naturally to survive. Human population growth has always taken a considerable toll on any environment it comes into contact with. Humans are directly responsible for negative influence such as pollution and habitat loss. Indirect consequences of human interaction with the environment are often less known, but just as important for ecologists and conservationists to address. These include things like changing a chemical balance of water and forcing species to rapidly adapt to an environment ruled by humans. Unfortunately, this often results in relocation of a species or a major decrease in species population numbers because they're unable to adapt to the new environment fast enough. In terms of watershed in the San Francisco Bay Area, pollution and sediment runoff are just a few of the many impacts human population has caused on the environment. In the case of the San Francisco Estuary, humans have been working to improve the health and resilience of this environment for many years. There are many conservation projects in place to ensure successful restoration and maintenance of this habitat. Watershed management has been a huge focus of many of these projects because healthy water sources are essential for the well-being of an environment. Biodiversity is a large focus on many of these projects directly and is even affected indirectly by others. In healthy ecosystems and environments, biodiversity levels are often high. This allows more lenience in any alteration with biotic and abiotic factors such as climate or food change. The Bay Area Watershed Network is a project in which a network of natural resource professionals as well as community members work locally to protect watersheds from headlands to the bay throughout the region. Members of this team participate in education outreach programs, assess and monitor restoration tools and techniques, as well as the land and water use of the area. Another project is Flood Control 2.0. This project will develop a set of innovative approaches for bringing environmental benefits and cost savings to flood protection infrastructure along the San Francisco Bay shoreline. The strategy has two complementary approaches that transform costly trapped sediment and local flood control channels into a resource. Channel redesigns take place where sufficient adjacent land use and flexibility exists. It also generates sediment redistribution for highly constrained channels. The Creek Mouth Assessment Project projects a long-term goal to create user-friendly online web tool that helps agencies, organizations, and volunteer stewardship groups understand both regional opportunities and constraints for creek mouth restoration flood projects. The Bay Area Creek Mouth Assessment Tool will provide a picture of historic current conditions, including restoration projects, presence of native and invasive species, endangered species, water quality, and land use and ownership. The San Francisco Estuary Partnership is set up to help protect and improve watershed health around the San Francisco Estuary by awarding small grants to 11 Bay Area entities, including local creek groups, nonprofits, and special districts working in watershed across the Bay Area. Reducing sediment in North Bay watersheds. This program works to inform the public about sediment pollution, also provides resources such as technical assistance, referrals, and educational materials to help property owners implement land management practices to reduce erosion and runoff. Efforts are being made to reduce sediment delivery in rural areas, residential stormwater detention. Monitoring projects and implementing in watershed health, conducting workshops for elected officials and land managers on innovative techniques to reduce sediment and implement the North Bay area. The Coastal Regional Sediment Management Plan has been working for years to develop sediment management plans along the California coast. This plan is currently being developed to assist government entities, municipalities, stockholders, and communities in developing strategies for beneficial reuse of sediments within the region from the Golden Gate to Pacific to address coastal erosion. The climate adaptation in Corte Madera Marsh, which is designed to reduce the vulnerability of tidal wetlands and sea level rise. The Bay Conservation and Development Commission and team are doing this work to better understand the flood control and wave attenuation benefits of tidal wetlands, the vulnerability of tidal wetlands to sea level rise, and ways to improve resiliency of the critical habitat so that flood control and wave lessening benefits are maintained into the future. All of these conservation efforts and projects have made a huge positive impact in the San Francisco Bay Area by just addressing watershed management. The importance of these projects is immense and not only helps the estuary, but the surrounding habitats as well. Habitat fracture in the San Francisco estuary has increased by human behavior tremendously, especially in the past few years. As human populations continue to increase, unfortunately that means the natural resources in that surrounding area are going to naturally decrease. Humans take up a lot of natural resources in the form of land, which could be used for building as well as farming. Either way, these resources are being eliminated from the natural environment. Species, anywhere from birds even to fish, are often affected not only by the presence of humans, but by the alteration of the environment as a whole. Things like pollution in form of air and light, as well as runoff into water systems, which will change the chemical balance of these water systems tremendously. Some animals can't survive with this change for much longer than a couple of lifetimes. Unfortunately, this changes the entire food web, as well as both abiotic and biotic factors